Yeah.
All right. Okay,
What's
we're live.
going on? What's going on?
All right, we're live with IFBB Pro Sami Ghanem. Hey, Sami, thanks again for, joining with us and talking about all different kinds of stuff. We truly appreciate it.
Of course.
We know that you're a professional in the game and you've been around for a very long time. You have a lot of knowledge, so it's a pleasure for us to be able to tap into that knowledge, and for you to share that knowledge with everyone out there. So
Oh,
thanks again for joining. Um, I wanted to kick things off a little bit, just to talk about you real quick because I was kind of stalking your Instagram, and um, there's a couple of pictures that I just wanted to touch on. I know you went to the Olympia last year, and tell us about your experience. But first of all, let's click on this photo. This is pretty impressive. What was your weight in this picture?
that one was. Let's see. It was probably about 173.8.
Okay. Okay. How'd you feel when you were up there standing next to guys like Chris Bumstead and
Surprisingly, I was right next to him. But yeah, it was. How did I feel? I felt it was hard to explain. I could definitely say I was very excited, but I also can tell you I wasn't ready. Um, you have to accept that. Like to be at that kind of conditioning, that kind of level. Yes, I was very hard. I was very conditioned. My body was complete. But to the kind of muscle maturity you need to be up on that stage, I still needed time. And that's what I reflected on and really absorbed the most. But all in all, as experience wise, it was fucking amazing. I felt like it was the best high I ever had, to be honest. It went by so fast. And if I had to say anyone to anything, really enjoy the Olympia process. Don't think it as like. I think the one thing if I had a regret, and this is just the honest truth, is like I wish I didn't rush into another job right away, and just go into another field, and really just focus on that day, not the whole other experiences. But other than that, it was amazing. It was really amazing. Like especially like hitting hitting that pose that you got to hit, your favorite classic pose, like when you go on your side, hitting the front half of the thigh. And I gotta say, it was fun, and definitely like all that bloodshed and tears. That long prep, it was 6 months because that weight was not coming down easily. I started at 206, and I had to make 175.
Mhm.
At the end of it, I had to pull all the androgens out, so to make weight because they were holding it. I had to pull Anavar, halotestin, all this stuff just to make weight. So basically, I had nothing in me the last 4 days.
So when you compete, you're okay. So help me understand this because I don't think a lot of folks understand this. So Chris Bumstead, I don't was he 175 on stage? I mean, he's a different weight class, right?
Correct. He's
But you guys,
he's about 6'1", and he gets to weigh like 225.
mhm.
That's a 50-pound difference, bro.
So how is that fair?
It's not that. I'm not gonna say it's unfair. I'm not gonna say it's fair. I think it's just the way you look at it. I would just have to, like kind of. This is when it comes to the topic what are they looking for in a classic physique? Um, Basically, the way they're looking at it is like tall, round, symmetrical people with small waists. That's how it is. I don't think it's always going to be to the short people. Because one thing is, you got to have a small. If you're short, you have to have a small waist, a big back, big chest, big legs, and it's really nice insertions everywhere. Your body has to flow. I mean, Rough Diesel has it a little bit. Keon had it at one point before he went to 212. I had it in certain areas, but not every area. You got to be perfect in all areas. Round shoulders, your biceps and triceps have to peak at the right point. You have to really know how to transition. Your lat spread has to be good. Just everything has to flow in like a kind of like an harmony. So, is it fair? Life ain't fair, but at the end of the day, it's like just bring it. That's all you can do. The best thing, it's not about fairness, it's about going there and making sure you try your best and just hoping for the best. You know what I mean? You're going there to be against your old self. Yeah. But it's the industry is always going to be like that. Nothing's fair, you know. So that's how I see it.
Let me ask you this question. So back in 2016, Classic Physique came out, right? And I think in 20, I don't know if it was 16 or 17, but Danny Hessler won it. And he was a short guy, right? And this is 2021. Have you seen the physique changes in Classic? What are your thoughts? What do you think the judges are going to start looking for? And do you feel like a lot of the shorter, blockier, thicker guys are going to have to go to 212, and it's going to open up the Classic Physique guys to the more taller, more leaner, more smaller waist, more structure, kind of like Arnold look from the back in the 80s.
Or you're going to see people like Logan Franklin climb to the top. You're going to see guys like I forgot that black and that was up there with the dreads. He plays seventh. He was really well known. Filio Cambrano, Alex Cambrano. He's going to climb to the top because he's a little bit of the taller, more aesthetic looking guys. Like Ruff. Ruff he did get second, but I don't know. Breon, he's holding on to his last. He's old, man. But people don't see that because he looks so young. Conditioning, but making the weight is hard. And all in all, I see it exactly how you said. Short guys, they're gonna go more to the taller because the taller guys, the crazy thing is like guys like Logan Franklin still have 15 pounds of grow weight to go. The short guys really don't have much room to grow because they have to make that weight that they're troubling to make. Some of the guys that have to make weight in a certain weight class are in that weight class in the offseason. So at the end of the day, they're not really having to make too much of weight. They're not doing too much of a weight cut, you know. They're just adding in more tissue on. They get to eat. They get to train harder, you know. Instead of sacrificing tissue, doing more cardio, stuff like that, they get to really take a progressive off season. That's kind of how it is. How is it done? So that's how I see the era of Classic Physique going. And not saying 212 is a thing, but some of those guys don't like. Personally, me, I don't want to even get that big at 212. It's uncomfortable. I know it's good to be uncomfortable and stuff like that, but not for everyone, you know. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Classic as they call it. It's crazy. You're right to say like Danny Hester starting in 2016. That short guy, which is my height, then going all the way to 2020, and it shifts so fast. Where you got Danny Hester, then you got Breonna Ansley twice, you got Chris Bumstead twice. Now look where we're at. Chris Bumstead going for the third round. Mm-hmm. You're going to see Classic Physique is going to be a different top five. 100% different. Most of the class is going to be tall. I know it. Mm-hmm. Hard, separate. Because the guys competing right now, they're nothing compared to the guys in the top 12, the top 10. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Guys that are shows right now, they haven't even seen the guys that are really up there. Like, who's pulling good? Danny Ewan. He supports the short guys that look good. But he doesn't have much more to go with that frame. He's going to have to either switch it up, go to 12, or stay in Classic. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But that's how it is. Yeah. These guys don't have much room to grow.
Do you think that there's a possibility that the IFBB or even the NPC and all the minds of those two associations might actually create another class just to kind of see where these guys fit? Because now I feel like when they brought Classic on, there was a home for the shorter guys, right, that weren't able to hit 212. So there was kind of a place for them to fit. And now it's kind of like they're pushing them out, so.
They brought 202 back, but I don't think 202 didn't have a following.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to bring back 202, or is it just that's too close to 212?
It wasn't popular. It's too close to 212. It's 10-pound mark. I think that the difference between 212 and open, it's a big difference, Mm-hmm. Complete difference, And I can't see them bringing 202 back. Wasn't that popular. It didn't have it at much shows. It died off a long time ago. Mm-hmm. It would be cool for the guys. It'd be really cool. They also wouldn't have to put on so much tissue. I would probably fucking think about getting back into it. Let's see how I could do at 202. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then not have to put on so much size. Mm-hmm. Right now, I haven't even been training seriously because I'm still kind of figuring out. Do I stay in Classic or not? there's a lot of like that last couple. The last week of prep was at the Olympia prep was just like it was sucked because you had to make that weight. And I looked so good at 180, and then 5 pounds off is done. I'm deflated. Don't look like you have much tissue at all. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but.
Yeah. I think the fans of the sport is kind of what drives, what the judges are starting to look for, because when you kind of think about today, right? You think about classic, and classic is getting kind of freaky, right? Just like the open guys, and now we have wellness, right? So wellness is kind of the freaky of the bikini. I'm thinking that bikini is gonna start dying out because everyone's tired of seeing the skinny girls, and then they want to see these disproportionately girls, these girls with big hips, big tie-ins, big butts, right? And I think
it's hot.
That's the freaky of bikini, right?
Yeah, it's hot seeing a girl with a really good, nice quad and glute. It's really hot. It's a really appealing look, especially like some of these Brazilians, man. I mean, they're gonna own that fucking sport, bro. They're gonna own that sport. I went to the Tampa Pro, I went to the New York Pro, and that shit was insane. Those girls are jacked, crazy, disproportionate as fuck. Because you have like nice shoulders, nice arms, and then you have like a small waist with big tits, and then you're in high heels with a fat ass, and then quad going one way. I mean, it's crazy, but very good. I mean, I get it. It has a look to it. It's insane, but that's what they're looking for. I mean, Summer Andrews looks good. She's coached by John Meadows. I saw her. Who else? I forgot that lady that got first at the New York Pro, but she looked fucking insane. She was a Brazilian chick. But the top 5 was all Brazilian. It's a Brazilian sport. Never gonna doubt it. I mean, I think I saw at the Pittsburgh Pro, one of Blackstone's athletes was Frida Paulson. And she has a nice glute. She looks good. She looks good and open. But even she needs to put on more size. It's crazy. So it's interesting. But that's going to be a very popular division for the sport. So.
Yeah. And this year is going to be the first time that wellness is going to hit the Olympia stage, right?
Correct.
So that's when it's going to blow up, right? Popularity wise.
Olympia is going to be pretty big. That's going to be in Florida, to be honest. Now I'm thinking about it. But I think it's going to be differently populated, certain of days of who's competing and who's not. Definitely, obviously, Open is going to be very popular. Classic. I think what's really dying off is not dying off, but not as trendy is physique and bikini. I don't think it's going to share the limelight like it should. I think 212 will share the limelight more than it will. I mean, 212 is very exciting. You guys, 212 is going to be stacked. Pearson, Bo Jackson, I mean, George, the Bull. Shit, dude, like Sean Clarita, Little Giant.
Yep.
Giant Killer, like, dude, like those guys. There's Nathan Epler just won the New York Pro. Like, I mean, guys, like, dude, that was his first year, second show, qualified for the Olympia. Did exactly what I did, but even harder show. It's amazing. These athletes, 212 is going to be stacked. That's going to be an interesting show to watch. I mean, even Derek, don't forget about Derek Lunsford. And then Open, you obviously know that's going to be crazy. And then you got these wellness girls that are coming out of nowhere looking jacked, and all these men like them, and all these women want to be like them. It gives the thick women something to look for, and I get it. It's something to follow. It's something to, acknowledge. I think it's cool. So I think it's good that the industry really switched that up. So kind of interesting.
You got Jose Raymond coming back too to the 212, right?
What?
Yeah, he's coming back. Yep.
That off season didn't last. I mean, that retirement didn't last that long.
No. I don't think you can take bodybuilding out of the champions. I think it's just something that they love to do, right? So, it's hard for them to just stop.
Yeah, I always say I'm done, but I don't know if I'm.
No, you're not done. You're not done, dude.
I'm not done. You slow down on the training. Like, I haven't stopped training. I'm still training. I just haven't, like, I don't know. You go through those times where you need to reevaluate. You need to reevaluate, figure out what you want to do, and then, shoot for the success of it. So that's what I'm doing. Reevaluating.
Yeah.
But
hey, let me ask you this. So I mean, you obviously you climbed up the ranks, right? I mean, you went from the amateur circuit to the pro circuit, and then ultimately you got into the freaking biggest stage, the Olympia. Um, there's a bunch of guys out there, right, on the amateur level that I guess they don't have any clue on what they need to do to like be able to achieve what you did, right? And like I see a lot of the amateurs saying, "Yeah, I'm going to get to the Olympia stage," but they don't even have the work ethic to become a pro, you know. So tell us what did you do from going from the amateur ranks to the pro ranks, and then ultimately getting to the Olympia stage?
When the amateur started back in 2015, but I'm not going to tell the story how it is. I'm just going to tell you how I did. The first goal was always, I didn't say I'm going to make it to Olympia. I always started with realistic goals, to keep bodybuilding alive. So the first realistic goal was to turn pro. Everyone wants to turn pro. And then you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to do anything. Then I'm good. I'm a pro now. I can advertise it. So my main focus was from 2015 to 2018, strictly turn pro. I figured out what I had to do. 2015, I was still new. I was still young. The sport was just getting bigger. I had to put on size. 2016 came, did pretty good. Still not good enough. 2017 is where I really learned the most. That's when I got fourth at USA's, and I was like, okay, what do I need? There's a couple things I needed. Everything has to be flawless. So if you have gynecomastia, you have to get it fixed. So I got gyno surgery, and after I took out the gyno, I had a vision. Because I had the best offseason of my life. From 2018 was my best offseason. It was the most size I've ever put on, leg separation, everything. It was the best condition I have ever had. I was the most peeled guy on that stage at Nationals. And I went in there, even without any shiner, and I turned pro. Okay. Now you got all the GBGBs and all that shit. You accomplished turning pro. But are you done? I thought I was going to be done. I was like, no. I mean, dude, 7 to 8 months later, I ended up popping on the pro stage. Okay, I hopped on the pro stage. What am I going to do next? Now I got to win a pro show. I just want to win a pro show. I don't want to qualify for the Olympia, even though that gives you a qualification. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to accepting a loss and accepting being realistic with yourself, not thinking you're going to make it to the Olympia right away, because that's a 6-year journey. A lot of these guys can't realize that it's a 6-year journey. And it's just a constant reminder you have to set small goals. It's the same thing in life. You have to set small goals, and you got to check them off. Because you're going to have stopping points, breaking points. You're going to wonder why you didn't get this placing, why you didn't get that. Life's going to hit you. But as long as you have a path, you can make it. And that's the way I took it. I lived life. If I wanted to pay for it, because I had to pay for bodybuilding. Bodybuilding wasn't given to me. So I had to work hard. I had to be the best salesman. And I wanted to be the very best to make sure I can feed my hobby, bodybuilding. So that's what I did. And then we fast forward, now we're in 2019. Niagara Falls Pro, got second, and I was really happy. Was I done? I wanted to be. You want to go back into your off season and start eating bad food. You want to feel comfortable. But I waited 4 weeks, and I qualified, and I did Battle of Texas and qualified for Mr. Olympia contest. And I looked way better in 2019 than I did in 2020. I think if I had to go back, I think there are certain things I did, and I don't recommend this to anyone. I stopped doing legs, because my knees were hurting. Like 6 to 8 weeks out, sacrificed a lot of tissue there. Switched up drug protocols when I shouldn't have. I'm a very trial and error type of person, so I'll make sure to get that across. And that's just basically the way to answer your question earlier on, like how the journey is like, don't think about the journey as making it to Olympia. Just think about the first winning a show, like an amateur show, making the overall. Start small. After that's checked off, you can celebrate for a little bit. But if you really want to be a relentless motherfucker, you're done celebrating. You're back to the drawing board. Okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? And that's how you have to treat it. It's kind of like the way Kobe Bryant used to treat his basketball games and stuff like that. Same shit. You got one championship ring, you got to win another one. So that's how I would give the advice to people. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, totally, totally. And then one of the things that I come across a lot too is that you have a bunch of amateurs that there's a difference between confidence and cocky. And you have a lot of amateurs that are like super cocky, right? Where they think that, they're going to do one show, they're going to win the overall, they're going to go get their pro card, they're going to go to the Olympia stage, and they're going to be the next Mr. Olympia or whatever. And when you see these guys and when you talk to them, you kind of want to give them advice because there's a distinct difference between confidence and cocky, and cocky doesn't get you anywhere, right? I mean, so tell us your spill about, how to be confident about what you want to achieve, right? And then not being cocky, because you're not going to get anywhere being cocky, right?
Because cocky is one thing. That means you're just overly obsessed about yourself, which is not a bad thing. But at the same time, just for you being cocky doesn't mean that actually the end result's going to happen. Confidence is just knowing that you have to be confident in yourself that you can actually do a prep. That's confidence. You can actually do a show. You have to get on stage and hold the proper pose and really put on a performance. That's confidence. Being up, going through the prep, not giving up, and really doing it. A lot of people that are cocky actually end up giving up on the prep because it gets too hard. The real confidence is if you can make it through the journey. I think that's what separates cocky from confidence.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take.
Yeah, yeah. And now that at the amateur level, so if you place top 5 in any category, you actually qualify for nationals now, and it's no longer top 2.
That's very stupid.
Tell us about it. What do you think?
It's stupid. That's just idiotic. It doesn't make the sport competitive. I'm going to be honest. It sounds like more like a money thing than anything.
Mm-hmm.
More pros, more shows, more tickets, more audience, more money.
Yep.
I don't care if I say it. Sounds true to me. I don't want to be a dick about it, but it's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't even think top 2 should win it. I think the first, and then you make it to the overall. You take that's good. First in your class, you make it to there. Makes the sport a lot exciting. People work harder for it because that in their bio on Instagram is going to write nationally qualified. Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a good feeling. I mean, it's a better feeling when you lost 100 pounds and you were fat. That's and you're nationally qualified, even though you look like an absolute asshole. Not a good feeling, in my opinion, at least to say the least. But qualifying, no. Placing top 5 at nationals, yeah, hell yeah, be proud of that. You can write that on your bio. But you better come back and place top 3, top 2. You better win. I never put nationally qualified. I only put IFB pro. I never put anything on my bio where, won 2019 Niagara Falls Pro Championship or second at this, blah, blah, blah. No, because the only thing I would put on there is if I won it, Mr. Olympia. 2021 Mr. Olympia. Class physique. Something like that. That's worth putting on. I don't think people should. I think the fact that, they're giving it to the top 5 of that one class, stupid. And I'm not trying to put anyone down, but what if you look like shit? You really want to go on stage and try to compete with a bunch of level bodybuilders that are 5%, 4% body fat, appeal to the bone? No. Stupid. Work on your own fitness journey outside the perspective of thinking you have to compete on a national level stage. That's me. That's how I think about it.
Yep. Yeah. And I think, when you look at it, when you go to some of these amateur shows, you might only have 3 guys in one class, right? Or 4 guys, or maybe even 5 guys, and all 5 look like shit. Well, now they all qualify, right? So like you said, and it's I think it's gonna upset the judges. Honestly, I think Steve is gonna get pissed off if he starts to see the quality go down. And it's gonna taint the national level, prestigious kind of feeling, right? I mean, you're gonna get guys that's gonna come in super ready, right? And then they're gonna be standing next to somebody that looks like they just put on trunks and just got on stage and put some oil on, and it's then now it's like, okay, well, what the hell, right? And it's, then now it's like, okay, well, what the hell, right? And it's, then now it's like, okay, well, what the hell, right? And it's, then now it's like, okay, well, what the hell, right? And it's, then now it's like, okay, well, what the hell, right? And it's, then now it's like, okay, well, what the hell, right? And it's, then now it's like, okay, well, what the hell, right? You got a Mercedes Benz standing next to a fucking Volkswagen Beetle from 1960 or something. How's that gonna look? Right?
Pause you 1 second. Let me just get my charger. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries.
No, just my phone dies like crazy. I have to actually get up getting a new phone.
But
dude, it's gonna get more and more corrupt. I mean, let's just hope that bodybuilding doesn't die down.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I hope for. One thing for bro is bodybuilding. It keeps going in the right direction, but it's stuff like that. Those kind of decisions, that seems very stupid in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's one of the things too is that when I was looking at you got the Pittsburgh Nationals coming up, and I was kind of looking at the pro qualifications too, and I noticed that for the figure, I think the women's physique, now they have to win fresh in class, so I think they took away that second place for pro cards. And I think the only one that was still first and second was I think bikini and men's physique. I think everything else you have to win first in class, and I think bodybuilding you have to place top 4 in overall. So I kind of feel like they opened it up more for guys on the amateur level to get into nationals, but they took away some of the opportunity for them to get their pro cards. And so that's a Gary Udet show, right? So I'm not sure how that's gonna affect the Miami show. So I don't know if it's gonna be first and second too, or if they're gonna kind of reduce the chances to get the pro card.
Second. I think Miami Nationals. That's where I turned pro. I got second.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will always be like that. When in the beginning of time, Miami was never like that. Miami was, you had to win your class. You had to win the overall in bodybuilding, figure, classic, but whatever. If they had those things back then, that's the way it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
We're blessed. I'm not saying I'm not saying it was easy to turn pro, but it's getting easier in certain classes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way they take the sport, man. It's the way of life and anything. Competitors are going to adapt to the schedule, just as they adapted to the COVID-19 epidemic with the NPC. And everyone thought the world was going to end because they're not competing on stage and you have to work out from home. But you weren't,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's basically how I see it.
Yep. I went to the USA's. I think it was 2019. It was either 18 or 19, and women's bodybuilding. I remember that there was one competitor in the class, and she got her pro card because it's a class winner, and there was only one of her, and she was actually a porn star. She had tits that hung down to her waist. You couldn't even see her abs, but she got her pro card, right? And it's it was kind of funny in a sense, but again, it's how do you fix that? And I think what the USA's did this year for women's bodybuilding is they said that you got to win the overall now, so it's not class winner. So for women's bodybuilding, you have to win the overall. But yeah, that was crazy. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good way to judge it. Good way to, because where is she going to go with a pro card with knockers the size of bowling balls? Probably nowhere. But 4 inch, be very successful. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just cracking jokes, but hey, it's just not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, let's pivot a little bit. Supplements. I know you're the guru, man, and I know you know a lot about them. So, hey, I'm a beginner, and I'm calling you up and I'm asking you, hey, Sam, I'm a beginner. Give me a basic stack for me to start off with. What would you recommend?
Basic stack. Well, obviously, way isolate. A lot of people fall in love with isolation, so something like that from Blackstones. I'd say glutamine product for gut health and overall recovery. So 10 grams of glutamine. I would also say BCA. Not drinking all day long. I think that's what the minor misconception a lot of competitors and fitness enthusiasts think. they're increasing their protein synthesis when they're drinking BCAAs all day long. No, all that protein is obviously storing as fat, definitely a BCAA. Creatine monohydrate for post-workout or pre-workout, definitely being for adenosine triphosphate, your ATP production to recover. Couple other things, pump product. I don't think you need to go right away into a necessarily high stim pre-workout. Sometimes you don't even need pre-workout, but the main thing, a nice multivitamin as well. So if you're thinking about your stack in a greens product, that's what I would say for a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get into advanced if you want to get into advanced, but that's kind of like where you start.
Mm-hmm.
Start with a healthy diet, going to the gym consistently, and then keep going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's happening is a lot of people are just going straight into getting on gear. Had nothing to do with the gym, getting on gear, thinking about doing the show. It's crazy how many people I see. I'm just like, oh my God, waste of time. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to start off, with a good foundation, right? And then you can kind of grow from there. Not just
The foundation is starting with the protein.
Yeah, exactly.
Starting with the multivitamin. Starting with going to the nutrition shop, and that's what you start with. And getting a routine, and then looking at the old videos and becoming a fan of the sport first. And then you get later down a couple years down the line when you researched, did your stuff, and then you hired a nice coach, did your first, you stayed in the gym for, I don't know, consecutive 3-4 years before you even thought about doing a show, or fitness, entering the bodybuilding industry,
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Best way to answer it.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. So, when you go to the gym and you hear all this gym talk, right? And you hear a lot of guys say, man, insulin is the trick, right? You got to take insulin because insulin is going to make you get bigger, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that's bullshit, right? But let me ask you this question. So there's a lot of insulin mimetics out there, right? That's being sold by supplement companies. What's your take on glycolog is one of them. What's the main difference between glycolog and taking the real insulin, like Humalog or something? And what's the similarities?
Let's start with the differences. I mean, insulin, if you're taking insulin, you're going to shut down your production of insulin. You become diabetic. With the insulin mimetic, the first thing is you're not going to become diabetic. You're just improving nutrient partitioning. What is nutrient partitioning? Nutrient partitioning is the shuttle of carbohydrates and proteins to the muscle tissue, so nothing stores as fat or goes to waste. A product like glycolog has alpha-lipoic acid, things like that, sodium, alpha-lipoic acid, I think chromium, stuff to really partition food, allow anything that your body can naturally stabilize in blood sugar so it doesn't rise, so nothing stores as fat, allowing for blood sugar to adapt to certain situations, and utilizing the glycogen into the muscle so it can actually utilize and use as fuel. That's how it is. Insulin is good if you're really trying to put on size, but people don't realize you have to take it with growth hormone. Because insulin, like growth factor, you want to run them because they work synergistically together. If you take growth hormone and take a lot of it, you have to run insulin. So you don't, because growth hormone causes insulin secretion, your insulin stability to go down. So insulin sensitivity to go down. So with that being said, the major difference and similarities is the both partitioning. Obviously, insulin will partition at a very rapidly faster rate, but an insulin mimetic's easier. And honestly, I would stay with the insulin mimetic than even getting into insulin. It's worth it.
Yep. So with real insulin, like Humalog, so that would actually suppress the pancreas from releasing insulin, especially when you're on GH, when you're on growth hormone. So GH will actually suppress that. So that's why you tag the insulin on so that they can help with the partitioning piece. Yeah.
If you're taking 2 IUs of GH, you're not gonna suppress your insulin levels that much, but you're not gonna become insulin resistant as much. Taking high levels of GH, like competitive bodybuilder, yeah, you are. And that's the thing. That's why you have to either take GH fasted or right before bed with no milk, a small protein shake or something like that. And that's where, the one thing I also like to say when people take the MK677, growth hormone secretagogue, I always say take it with the glucose disposal agent because same thing, it lowers insulin sensitivity. So you want to increase your insulin sensitivity, you have to be allowing your body to adapt to nutrients, keeping insulin sensitivity alive with a glucose disposal agent like log and stuff like that. You know,
Okay.
and they're really good. There's a decent amount of bittermelon in glycolog, and that's a really good to grab onto. Chromium, bittermelon, alpha lipoic acid, and stuff like that. Glycolog was the first GDA to ever get brought to the market, and it is literally by far the best one. And you can take it with the cheat meal. A lot of people are like, is that beneficial? I mean, it's definitely beneficial, but in a sense, it's not going to save you from getting fat or anything like that. It'll allow you to partition food better. But if your main goal is to eat an excessive amount of carbohydrates, sushi or something with hardly any fat and more focused on carb and sugar-based wise, it will actually allow it to be more progressive, especially on a high carb day. That's big. I don't know if that helped out a little bit.
No, it did. I mean, you got a lot of you have a lot of guys out there that think that, oh yeah, I'm gonna have like all these high carb meals and I'm gonna take glycolog, and if I take glycolog then I won't get fat. But that's a misconception, right? Because it's like, there's a combination of things that you have to consider as well. I mean, you got to consider your training regimen, right? You got to consider your diet. You can't,
diet, training all have to do with increasing insulin sensitivity, increasing the metabolism. Training shit, your diet shit, and then you think glycolog is going to save you. Good luck. Half-assing your diet, look like dog shit.
Yeah, there's no magic pill out there, right, Sammy?
Not at all.
Okay, so you're into you're super close to the supplement industry, and you know a lot about it. Tell us what's hot on the market today, man. Like, tell us what's happening, what's new, what's coming out.
Well, obviously everyone makes those hardcore pre-workouts, so those are not coming out. New wise, I gotta say, there's what I see with the supplement industry is a lot of snacks. The pro hormones from black swings are getting more recognized nowadays. SARMs are still on the market. Some stores carry them, some stores don't. I'm not opposed to them, just not human consumption. I always think that's a benefit. It's kind of funny. Kratom is getting brought to the industry. That's growing a little bit more. You guys know I dabble into that. Urbanized Botanicals. So get it from
we have that up right now. So tell us a little bit about these guys.
So I joined this company after around January. I'm not going to get into the story because I already probably talked about that. But Kratom is going to help a lot with the fitness industry. I think dealing with anxiety, stress, inflammation, recovery, sleep, productivity, appetite suppressant. They all have key factors. And you can see as GY Fitness carries most of the line, like morning focus. What really helps with focus? There's a pill that kind of acts like, in a sense, like a natural Adderall, I like to say it. And honestly, that's one of my favorite products. You guys can buy it from GY Fitness. 2 caps. That's a white kratom. White strain is very known for focus, increasing dopamine and serotonin, really helping with that. Then they also carry some of the extracts if you guys are a little more like 3X. Those are a little more stronger of an agent. It's an extract with CBD, also can enhance the effect. And then you have the 75 milligrams of active alkaloids of Mitragynous speciosa, which is kratom. And the reason why I'm saying people are taking kratom is because it's allowed people to fight stress on prep. It's allowed people to better their lives. And it kind of falls in a better scenario than CBD actually does. It's a little more powerful, I think. And you take it right and you take it regimented, you could go a long way with it. Especially that fat burner right there. Should be drops sometime this month, come re-out. So guys, stay tuned for that. That's a great fat burner right there. And there's all different strands. You guys can actually go back on. They can probably go back to that video we made and talking about Urbanized Botanicals, right, Greg?
Yep. I remember that. Super educational, and a lot of folks liked it. And a lot of folks didn't know what this was, and it was just enlightening for you to kind of, educate everyone and just tell everyone, what all the different strains does, because it's not all the same, right? And it does different things. The one thing that I remember though is that you used a certain product during your prep, during your 12-week prep, and that actually helped you get through the toughest time before your competition, right? And tell us about that one.
That was morning focus. That was
Yep.
more focus. And the reason why I say that is because I was fucking tired, man. Prepping for 12 weeks, and at one point, I was at 125 grams of carbohydrates. I know that seems like, oh, that's still a decent amount of carbs throughout the day. Yeah, try working a full-time job and doing an hour cardio a day. Yeah, fuck you, motherfucker, and travel out the world. 125 carbohydrates with hardly any fat won't do you any satiation. Well, I was working an event and fucking I saw this product and I was just like, you know what? I would love to take this product. Looks too good to be true. I got a sample. Took the sample. I'm like, my training was intense. My anxiety was going away. And I was wondering, so I just got obsessed about it and hit up the owner right away. And I just, the reason why I say it got me through the prep is because it really helped me stabilize my mood and not let all my relationships go to shit from, side effects, being tired, angry, pissy, cranky, really helps to stabilize that. So that's why I think I really give it a lot of credit, or credits too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And with the morning focus, you don't get that severe crash like you do when you take caffeine, right? So
focus, you don't. It kind of smoothly comes off, whereas even with kratom, you don't really get a crash at all. Mm-hmm. Some people are afraid of it because they think they'll be addicted to it. I mean, personally, if you stick with capsules, you're never going to be addicted. And the addiction and stuff like that is not bad. I try to see an addiction-wise, you're thinking like it's like a dependency, like you're depending on it. They actually did it. There is a study that just came out about dependency, and it has nothing to do with kratom. Kratom, you're not going to get sick. It's like kratom comes from the coffee family, Rubicea. So the way it stacks with that is like the same kind of headaches you would get from caffeine that you would get from kratom. Mm-hmm. So if people are worried about that or skeptical about that, trust me, nothing's going to happen. So you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yep. I think a lot of supplements should be utilized during prep, especially regimented. It's not a magic pill, but if you keep it consistent, it'll really work out. That's what I think. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. No, good advice for everyone out there. Let me ask you this question. So you're my coach and I'm on a budget, right? And you give me a protocol of supplements that I need to pick up. So let's just say, okay, so protein, creatine, glutamine, BCAAs or EAAs, some pre-workout, maybe a carbolin drink, and maybe SARMs. So I'm on a budget, right? Out of that list, I tell you, just give me the top 3 or top 4 that I should take as a beginner that's starting to get into fitness. What would you recommend?
Are they doing a prep?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Protein?
Yep.
Glutamine, creatine. They're obviously going to be doing a shit ton of cardio, so definitely recommend cardarine, which is PPA agonist, part of the SARM family. Whether they're going to be taking, if they're just looking for just starting maybe a SARM for maybe just like that first thing they're taking as the base of their cycle for something to sustain muscle mass and burn body fat, I would say like either a RAD 140 stacked with like a YK11. And then when it would come to a point where talking about fat burn, they don't really need to take a fat burn because the cardarine is in there helping them. And then other than that, the last thing would be just to kind of keep them satiated and, obviously feel like they're getting some taste out of it for just like overall human beings, would be BCAs. I think that would be the game point in. And then staying on a budget with the diet too. You gotta factor in where you can get the cheapest chicken. You gotta factor in where you can get the cheapest vegetables. And for me, like I'm an odd person. I used to when I didn't have much money, I used to go to Restaurant Depot. I'd stack up sweet potatoes. I kept it simple: canned tuna, chicken, grilled chicken, sweet potatoes, and brown rice. Kept back. That's what I did. And budget was always protein. Always had a pre-workout. Always kept cardarine because cardio gets insane. I recommend everyone. Better than cleanse. Cardarine is amazing. It also helps actually take fats out of your liver. So basically improves your HDL and LDL cholesterol. Check that out.
Okay.
Definitely recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, because I mean everybody's on a budget, right? So I get that question all the time too. It's like I give them a list of stuff and they're like, well, what do I really need,
Always narrow it down. I say you need this, 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 and this. But if I had to say protein, cardarine, boom, 40. And sometimes they just need protein. Like, I honestly think whey protein is the most important thing out of all the list. And then 2 little stack supplements that will help increase their performance in the gym and increase their recovery time and increase their conditioning of the muscle while they're coming down on body fat. Stuff like that. For a woman, it's different. I would just say whey protein and BCAAs, and maybe cardamom would be perfect for them. I mean,
yep, exactly.
Balls.
Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to training. So I know you. I mean, obviously, there's different training regimens, right? Everybody has different thoughts on it.
You got giant supersets, you got cluster sets, you got drop sets, you got bid stop sets.
Yep.
I always say, if I'm going to answer this training, what kind of advice I would give, it's always going to be microcycles, so weekly. I think you should always have a heavy week, an iso week where you're pumping the blood and muscle and stuff like that. And then I think you should also have a giant set week where you're completely going volume, doing what I mean by giant sets are 3 exercises in one, repeating in like 3 to 4 sets to failure, stuff like that. Supersets can be entitled, but I think that would fall in the lines. And that's not my training. I can't say I created that. It's called Y3T. I think Neil Yoda is actually a really good trainer when it comes to that stuff. Preserving, tricking the muscle, keeping the condition, and just fucking going balls well with good form and tempo. Tempo is everything. And people are always asking, what's a cluster set? I mean, cluster set's easy. It's still volume. It's just you're resting about 15 to 20 seconds in between each set for that 5-second period. And you're doing sets of 4 to 5 reps for each set coming down. So that's how I say it. I always think people should work out in microcycles and change their training. Not the exercises, but just the volume and the reps and weight. I think there should always be a heavy time, iso time, because you want to isolate the muscle. I also think you should condition the muscle. It needs to go through those kind of stressors, I guess you would say, to be able to adapt to that adaptation. That makes sense.
Yep. What do you think about compound movements? I mean, like your heavy deadlifts, your barbell bench presses, your squat.
Barbell's a waste of time. Bench press, definitely a waste of time. Unless you're doing like an incline Smith, great for cluster sets. Deadlifts are great for building a lower back, great for your hips and stuff like that, your hands stuff, stiffs. I mean, they're great. Are they needed? Are they necessary? No, they're not necessary. They're not going to get you. It's not going to defeat you if you don't do it. You have so many different back exercises you can do to develop a nice thick back. You got freaking, you got bent over rows. You got different kind of bent over rows, single arm dumbbell bent over rows. You got reverse incline rows. You got so many things to do for your back. It's just insane. I just don't think compound movements are not the necessary things. Like, you don't have to overhead press like 1,000 pounds to have big shoulders. It will help to overhead press, but maybe going on a machine or a Smith, something that's a little more guided. I think people should train a lot smarter than training like a fucking dickhead. That makes
Yeah. Do you guys have those guys at your gym that load up the leg press machine with 50, 45 pound plates?
Yeah, and then half rep it. It's still a common thing. See it all the time. Well, they do a calf raise with like 6 to 7 45s on the side. Don't do a full calf raise, and then you wonder their calf. So
yeah,
all the time.
Yeah. What do you think about, like, okay, so if you're contest prepping, right, and let's say you're 6 months out, do you change your training style from when you're 6 months up until you get to like the 12th week, 4th week, and then or is it pretty much the same all the way through?
The same all the way through. So maybe some exercises change, but same day, same split, same training style. Don't change. Usually when you start changing things, especially when you get close to the show, then things start to fuck you in the ass. You wonder, why did you do that? And then you can't go back. So I highly recommend people not to change anything. Maybe you can, if you're, the only thing you would change is you when you get closer to your show, you maybe ease up on the volume, on the weights. And kind of like just to let your body recoup. That's about it. I won't change anything after that.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we talked a little bit about having a champion mindset. I mean, that's important. We talked about supplementation. We talked about training. We talked about your thoughts on classic physique and kind of where that's going to roll out to. We talked about wellness and that whole change in what the judges are looking at. We talked about the NPC allowing top 5 to become nationally qualified. So a whole bunch of topics that we covered. What I want to do now is basically just kind of let the guys out there know that if they have any questions, Sammy, are they able to reach out to you directly?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, and what would be the best platform? Would that be on your Instagram?
Just Instagram. They literally could DM me. I answer everybody. I'm not like that where you can't like answer me. I answer every DM when possible.
And Sammy, you're doing jujitsu now, right?
Yeah, it's good. I'm still bodybuilding. Right now I've been doing jiu-jitsu. And honestly, bro, it's fun. It's fun. It is very hard to do both. It's very hard. Like right now I'm on a 3-day training split where it's push-pull legs, and I'm just training to maintain right now. And I have maintained everything. I still have great quad separation, great back insertions, everything like that. I feel a lot better too. You don't have to gear as hard. And body's still looking good. I mean, not too bad. If I end up, I just know I'm at a good standpoint when I'm ready to start an off season. I'm at a very good standpoint. I'm at a very good base where I'm not too chubby. I'm not too small because I'm actually still pretty heavy. I'm about 195, 194. And I'm still putting in the work. I just feel better in my skin right now. Not gonna lie. And
you look great.
Get better.
Yeah, 195, 194, and I don't see much body fat on you.
Yeah, I stay relatively pretty lean. The diet's clean throughout the week, and I eat like shit on weekends.
What's one of your shit meals? Just tell us about it.
Of Chick-fil-A, bro. 2 large fries, 6 cookies, and then large diet lemonade.
Is that just one meal, or is that throughout the whole day?
No, that's one meal.
Okay. Just one cheat meal, though.
That's one cheat meal. Then the next cheat meal on a Saturday night, when I'm stoned, is usually chicken parmesan from Giovanni's, large fry, and big ass chocolate banana bread. Oh, I still eat like a human, like a rhinoceros, dude. Like this body. I think the reason why my appetite's insane. I can get big. I can get real big.
Mm-hmm.
I have an appetite like a horse. It doesn't stop.
Well, total disclaimer for the guys that's watching this video is that just because Sammy eats that doesn't mean that you can. Right?
No, guys.
Sammy's a professional, man, and he trains his ass off, and he knows what he's doing. So, I don't want them to feel like, hey, man, if that guy can do it and look like that, then I can do the same thing. So
years of proper supplementation, proper training, and knowing your body.
Exactly.
If you go do that, you will get fat. So
Yep.
But that's what I'm a salesman at heart. I'm not bodybuilding wasn't my job title. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
For all you guys know, I actually work for 2 different companies, and I've been very successful at it. I've worked with Greg for probably about 3 years now, with UI Fitness, and it's been going good. I try to make it happen. So I appreciate you guys having me on today, by the way. This is great.
No, for sure. Yeah, we always love talking to you because you just have so much knowledge, and the viewers love it. They've after you did that Instagram live for the Kratom, we had a lot of feedback, and so it was really, really informational, and we enjoyed it. And we've had other guys asking and requested to see if you could come back on. And now that we have the YouTube platform, we can record this and then we can play it back, and it's just somewhere where guys can go on and they can always watch, right? So
definitely.
Yeah. But before we I know you got things to do, Sammy. I know this is a Sunday and this is your day off, but before we log off, I want to just do a quick shameless plug for our GY Fitness website, and just let the guys out there know that we do carry Urbanized Botanicals, and Sammy is the guy that helps us organize everything. And if you guys are interested, then check out our website. We have other products on there as well, and we're working with Sammy on different things as well. So just take a look. We have supplements. We also have workout apparel. And Sammy, this is something I don't know if you knew, but we were actually selected and approved as the Real Leader Fitness, Real Leader Hawaii, USA distributor for Hawaii. So,
Equipment.
yep. You ever heard of Real Leader?
Yeah.
Yep. So, mhm.
Nice, man.
So we're working with Nathan and Jack over at Real Leader, and we were actually selected as the distributor. So we're actually selling all this equipment in Hawaii and the outer islands.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very
So we're excited about that partnership, and more information to come as we start growing the business, and we're gonna kind of see how things go from there.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, Sammy. Well, thank you, man. Anything you want to say out there? Shout out to anybody, your friends, family, whatever.
Guys, always a pleasure. Greg, can't thank you enough. And let me know anytime you want to hop back on.
Sounds good, buddy. And do me a favor before we log off. Hit a front double bicep. Come on, let's see what you got, man. Yeah. You're still big, dude.
Try to be.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I'll catch you, man. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Sammy. Talk to you later, buddy.
Holla, bro.